do. They sell, produce these outdoor large pavilions, national company. And then electric for two, we bid it out. We did an alternate for electric on the Grand Avenue Pavilion, and that was an additional, I think, almost $12,000. So we decided not to do that alternate. So we're looking at electric for two pavilions there along Veterans Drive across from the amphitheater. And that price for electric, and that would include outlets, lights, LED lights, main power and everything, $21,700. As I mentioned, we're over budget by $41,000. I'm proposing in 2025 we have $75,000 set aside for various park roof replacements. And if you recall, in 2019 when I first started, we replaced a lot of roofs in the park system and other city buildings from a hailstorm that went through in 2017, I believe it was. So we pretty much have replaced all the roofs in the park system. There might be one or two that are remaining. So if we use some of that $75,000, that would take us down to about there'd be about $33,000 and some change left in that account in 2025 for any roofing replacements that we might need. Let's see. And so we're proposing to replace the pavilions with some just a tad bit larger pavilions. The pavilions along Veterans Drive are currently, where are we at? Approximately 22 by 55, and so we'd be replacing both of those with 30 by 60 pavilions. And then the pavilion along Grand Avenue there is currently a 20 by 42, and we'd be replacing it with a 25 by 45 pavilion. Like I said, all metal frame posts. We've tried to match the color of the pavilions, probably to the amphitheater, similar in colors, so they match. I guess I'll open it up for questions.
Will it have a standing seam like that?
Can you go back to the other picture? Sorry, John. It would be just like that, if you can tell on there.
It's not standing seam.
Can't really see the roof very well.
Looks like there is.
Yeah, there's seams there. And so also, you can't really tell. You can in the picture, and I don't know if some of it's lighting in here, but there's no rafters or anything, trusses underneath for the birds to sit on and,
Free span?
yeah, make their mess on the people below. So that was one of the things that we really wanted to include in that too.
And they're going to set the same spot that they are now?
Oh, yes. I forgot to mention that. This cost does not include, Parks would demo all three pavilions and pour the concrete pads, all three concrete pads for the new pavilions. And so that, we estimated the pads, each pad would cost about $10,700 for us to do in-house. That doesn't include, just our time for disposal and demo and everything like that. And so they would go in generally in the same spots there, and we would pour the pads, tear down the old structures, although the soccer one, the police department seemed interested in this morning, so that one could get reused. But generally they're in kind of bad shape, so.
You gonna have gutters on them, Wayne?
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, whoever.
I don't know who's.
Pads after the pavilions are up, or
Could you repeat that?
pour the pads after the pavilions are up?
No, they would pour them before.
They're gonna dig the footings before that?
We'd dig the footings before that. Yep.
Have you,
I was.
they're going to have
Is there
electric,
gonna be gutters on it?
No gutters.
Huh?
No gutters.
No gutters.
We did extend the pad out a little further to kind of cover that, so when the water does come down, it would come down on the concrete instead of making a muddy mess in the grass.
I know that if you put them in the same spot, the reason why I asked the question, the one behind the theater, amphitheater, has sufficient electric there, and then you piggybacked off of that one to the one west.
Mm-hmm.
You bored it, I guess, underground?
We would, yes, I believe we would bore it underground.
I just want to make sure that there's enough electric at the other one, because you know?
Oh, yes, at the west one.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we looked into that. I double checked with Chad, but I know we looked into that. We wanted to make sure we had enough there. And we actually even made sure we had enough to do for Pavilion 1 if we knew. That one seemed to be the trickiest of the three because it doesn't have electric now. And we wanted to make sure in the future, if we could add it in the future, that we could. And we kind of did our due diligence on that one, but right now it's not, just because of pricing and everything. Overall, the prices came in kind of what we thought they would, except electric was up a little more than we thought. We estimated about 15,000 for electric, and it came in at close to 20,000. Well, 21. Yeah, 21. So.
Then you know as well as I do, they use campers behind there during the fair back there. When you were doing that between the camp, the two pavilions, can we put pedestals in the ground anywhere for electric? I mean, if the fair board wants to pay the expended
Yeah,
cost.
I mean, I don't see why not.
I mean, even if somebody else wanted to use them, you know, if you're renting something, you needed more electric. It's just something that maybe you might want to look into with the fair board to see once if that's something possible they would want to do. I would hate to see them miss the opportunity, or anybody else miss the opportunity of having something extra out there if you need it.
Wayne, when were you proposing to build these? After?
So the pricing for the pavilions, I think they said we had about 20 days or so to get that locked into place, because as you guys may know, the price of steel and every metal is going up drastically. So that's kind of, we're wanting to get these locked into place. However, they said the lead time as of when we bid this out was like 20 weeks. So that put us right before the fair, and so this will become we were hoping to do it late this spring, early summer, and get it done before the fair, but with the lead time that the company needs, it'll be a fall project after the fair is over.
Wayne, I think
We got time to go ahead and,
the rock,
Yeah.
the rock columns, I think dress it up a lot, but is it an option that we could hold off on those
you could. You
for
could
now?
change
I mean, I
order.
think the way it looks good. I mean, again, I think the rock adds to it, but to stay within budget or a lot closer to budget, if we could wait on the rock pillars, it's just an idea, just a thought.
You could do that. We could certainly go through with it and do a change order.
But the rock
we
isn't
can-
gonna get it cheaper, I'll tell you that.
Well, I know.
What'd you say, Joe?
The rock's not gonna get any cheaper.
No. And I was even going to ask, I was kind of on with Jeff, I was even going to ask, did you guys look into even just pouring sonotube piers, and you can stamp that concrete, make it look like rock. You can make it look like rock, and you can stain it. There's all kinds of, and that might even be cheaper than these rock columns.
Well, and I just ask, I mean, we're over budget, which understand the cost of materials, but what's the plan for the fourth pavilion? Like, this is just 3, and we're 41,000 over.
Right. The fourth one we don't rent out, so it's kind of a freebie.
Okay.
And it's also in rough shape, and it's been moved several times, I think, over the course of many, many years. We discussed in Park Board that right now where it is, we're wanting to add on to that soccer parking lot, and where it sits now, we would have parking spaces, and as it comes around and connects to that parking lot then. We have a site selected across the way there. It would sit below soccer field number 2. There's kind of a flat spot there. But in Park Board, we had a discussion on waiting to see, knowing that we didn't have the budget for it, but waiting to see if it was necessary or if anyone would really miss it or,
Was it necessary to replace?
Yep.
I think it's kind of the way.
Maybe do without, right?
yeah.
And then one other question, then would this be the design for eventually the pavilions in the other area, the riverfront pavilion, et cetera? Is that the proposal
Oh.
or the idea?
I hadn't really
long-term?
thought about that. I guess it could be.
It
There's-
could be-
right
it could
now
be
there's
mocked
no-
after that.
Pardon?
It could be mocked after that. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, at one time, we
After the
talked
time-
about doing the same roof line that we did with the stage with all the pavilions and everything from here on out, Gretchen, so I mean, it probably,
Look great.
Right now, there's no funding for the
Right.
pavilions into Riverfront. But, yeah, I mean, it could be.
You could also put it across from the pool up there in that small park across from the pool towards,
Yeah, the Echo Camp Park or whatever it's
Yeah.
called.
Yeah, we'd have to probably flatten out a pretty good area. 'Cause most of that's hill.
My experience, we're dealing with the fair for the last 20-some years. Those posts right there, I wouldn't recommend, the one you have on the picture right now. And getting back to what Jeff was saying, the concrete, the stone ones, it keeps, I've seen a lot of vandalism that happens to these posts out there throughout the years. And I think going with something like that, somebody hits those, they're gonna damage their vehicle bad enough. You hit one of them other posts, they just might hit and run. But this, I think, is a defense against somebody taking the damages them pretty bad. Not only do they look good, but they're good for, protection against the building.
What are those things? That's a dressed stone though, isn't it? That's not,
Cultured stone.
Yeah, it's like real stone put on there. Because I've seen them where they have like wraps that you can put around that are like faux, but I looked at one in Eureka, the pavilion they have out there, and they look nice from a distance, but after a while that you can start seeing the seams and the caulk or the sealant comes apart, and it just kind
so
of,
this has, between that and the steel post is what? Mortar, concrete? What is it?
yeah, it would be
Concrete?
concrete block. Yeah.
Hollowed out concrete blocks, just concrete blocks like you typically see, they'll build it around it.
Yeah.
And then this
Like a
cultured
wrap.
stone, which is fake stone essentially, gets just basically grouted on to like a backing,
Right.
just to wrap it, it's just a facade is all it is. Sorry, Wayne.
I know we only got a limited time here, but do you think we could get a price on pouring some of ourselves? And like I say, you can stain them, you can stamp them, and they'll look just as good as that. And I bet you're gonna do it cheaper.
Yeah, I can.
I think you
but
can
we're
move
gonna-
forward with the contract for this. You can do a change order then if you wanted to go ahead and adjust that.
Your lead time is on your steel building.
Yes.
Yeah,
That,
Well, I'm just saying.
and the electric, yeah.
I know,
know.
you're talking about
Columns.
just these.
I'm just talking about the columns, the rock. And also, I know we don't want to use up all of our money, but I think, even like Joe just said a little while ago, rock's not going to get any cheaper, either is electric. I think this time we need to put electric in that other pavilion.
You know what the price was on all?
Yes, I do.
While they're there, it's going to be cheaper.
It was another 11,700.
And that includes boring it over to that pavilion? Because that's a distance away, correct?
I think it would come off, if I remember correctly, coming off, there's a post there by the stop sign, coming off of there, I think.
So we'll just trench it over or bore it over from
Yes.
there.
I'm sure that doesn't include new picnic tables and barbecue pits.
Barbecue pits, I think I have covered. We had one in storage, and I think I purchased 2 last year. And I think the same with water fountains. Picnic tables, no, because there's a lot of picnic
If
tables.
you're gonna be going from what you have now to 30 by 60s, you're gonna want more picnic tables underneath there. I just didn't know if they were in the budget.
No, I have to buy, we have a handful in stock, but we're gonna need to budget for more. It might be a gradual process because they're not cheap.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to put electric to the third one while we're doing it.
Well, let's talk about what's here first, or,
Is that something that we can do in-house if we just went ahead, if we had to trench it in later? Conduit, it wouldn't be that big a deal. I mean, you could do it later.
Yeah, possibly.
I would just recommend you move forward with the contract, and then we can go to the contractor and just see about the change orders for, add those on later. If that's what, we can work with them and then get your proposal back. But like John was saying and Wayne was saying, if you don't go ahead and move forward with the contract, we're gonna lose the price on the steel.
I think we all agree on the pavilions are the thing to do. It's just a matter of the small things, more electric, different on rock,
Maybe?
correct? So,
Right, I don't think anybody's saying, let's stop on
Right.
the steel. We're just,
so what if we
Add to it.
do, as Darren suggested, that we go get the prices on all the add-ons or removals or whatever, but move forward with the contract?
Yeah.
Move forward in the pavilion contract.
I know the Parks Department's been waiting a long time to do this, and I think it's time right now.
Yeah, they're,
At half cents capital sales tax, we should go ahead and do it.
We can always, as Darren says, we can always do change orders on new pieces. So yeah.
Are you okay with that, Mark? I mean, would
Yeah,
deal with getting this moving?
I wasn't stopping the steel.
Right.
I think we can shave off some costs on the piers or the little wall there, and I think that's why we're doing it for $11,000. You're not gonna have somebody come right back in 2 years down the road and do that for $11,000, that electric in that third pavilion.
So we want to look in, I'll make a motion, we go ahead with the contract, and we look into change orders for possible change of stone and possibly adding on electric to the third pavilion.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion to send this on to council.
Correct.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you've sent it on
All right, thank you.
with the add-ons.
Do we, real quick, like, did we decide which one we're gonna go with?
Which,
Which,
That building.
that's the building, that's the one, that's what we bid out. The other one is the same one, but smaller, and it, really, I only showed it because it had the columns, the rock columns already.
all right,
So that's the same, essentially the same model of pavilion, just had the rock columns on there already. But that's that's the rock columns that we would want. It's different than what's in that picture, but I thought it would give you guys a general idea of what
I
it
just realized that.
Pavilion separately and then vote on the electric contract separately
Okay, so now we need,
with different contracts.
okay. So we're going to say that you went with the pavilion,
Okay?
okay? And we approve that. Now somebody needs to go for the
I'll
electric.
make a motion for the electric.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you sent that on to council. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Did you have anything else?
Just a quick update on the pool. It's coming along. They have the deck, probably, if I had to guess, about 75 or 70% poured. Each day they get a little more, depending on weather. And once they get that in, then it'll be on to the fence, and they'll be filling it as soon as they can't fill it without the fence being up. And so it should be filled here in the next week or so, depending on weather. And then they'll have to balance it, and then they still have a lot of equipment to put in once the deck is poured that's mounted to the deck or actually in the pool too. So moving along,
still thinking May 31st?
29th.
We're thinking May 29th, 2 days ahead of you.
And
Okay,
yeah, and then they have a lot of grading and stuff to do yet too, but we can open the pool without grading, so. But yeah, they assure me 29th, so, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Wayne.
Water Wastewater Department, purchase of a 2020 John Deere Z915E Z-Track Zero turn mower.
Okay, I'll just brief you from over here. Kevin is on vacation today, so he's not here. If you recall, when the solid waste department got rid of contracted trash collection, in order to ensure that we did what we could to keep all of our employees, or at least give them the opportunity to stay on, we actually ran a little lean with all the departments, water, wastewater, parks, and then we identified the employees that would be best suited in a different position. Part of that was Kevin had a position in the water department, and part of getting that position added was that he would take on his grass mowing back in. The idea there was is you have extra man hours throughout the year. He could then take that grass mowing back in, which then the mowing would come off the mowing contract. That did happen. There was $12,600 per year that was on the mowing contract water department funded. That was not, I guess, agreed to for this year and into the future. And in doing so, there was a little bit of miscommunication between Kevin and myself regarding the equipment necessary, but we're getting caught up now. I know he was using some of Tony's equipment and things to get caught up. But they did rehab a trailer, so they're ready to go. Just need the equipment to take that mowing back on. We did receive some concerns on a couple of the well houses, but again, we did get caught up. We did get some bids, local bids. This is SN Partners to John Deere, and they would like to move forward with this. It is in stock. As soon as we get your approval, hopefully get your approval, we'll get right over there, get it picked up, and start mowing our grass.
Who's cutting it now?
Kevin is cutting it with some of Tony's equipment, some of the treatment plant's equipment. But as things kind of ramp up, shuffling those things around just doesn't make sense. So we were scrambling for the first 2 cuttings, 3 cuttings in spring, because again, I would have liked to have this in front of you in February. So we're just getting caught up.
I thought this was part of the contract that we contracted out, and this is not.
It was,
Okay.
but part of that discussion about moving that manpower, it was removed.
Okay.
So Kevin the water department does not pay a contracted mowing right this second. So we're doing all those things in-house. That was part of the discussion as far as taking on extra people into the water department, that they would be doing this task
In-house.
throughout the mowing season in-house. But knowing that, we needed a piece of equipment to do it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's fine. I get you. Is a 54-inch sufficient for a reason?
I leave those decisions up to the guys in the field.
Okay.
That's what they
That's what they
decide
want.
upon.
That's what they want.
He did have, the dollars were taken out of the, he's got an equipment fund. So it's not a budget amendment or anything. It's some budgeted money. So we did ask Kevin earlier today about what he would not be getting. We do believe it's a truck, but trucks are going to be almost impossible to come by this year. So he felt it was good enough to move on and get this done. So there will be no budget amendment with this, just a reallocation of monies.
How many prices you got, John?
Oh, was it 3? Should have 3. Is it in the packet?
Who are they?
I apologize. SN Partners was the John Deere. I think we got a number from Hillerman's.
That's all we see.
Is that what you see? Sorry.
2.
We just have those 2.
You
Okay.
just have the 2 that are in your package.
So I apologize.
Hillerman Nursery at $8,499, and then
And that was for-
Stricker is $7,279.
And that was for an X-Mark with Hillerman. Side stricker was a John Deere. Comparable machines. And I believe he would have went out and tried to get another one, but we did not receive a bid back.
Wade's Equipment Union, I work there, and I can get you a price.
Okay. We can look into doing that.
I think we would prefer if we could go ahead, due to the fact that they're behind already, I think with equipment, they would prefer to go ahead and probably award the contract to Side and Stricker and move forward.
Get you a price tomorrow.
You have to wait 2 weeks.
We can, we are managing with equipment we have now to some level, so if.
I don't know
continue
if
so.
it did, I don't know how Kevin went out to bid and if he gave, I don't know, we can check.
Yeah, we did not get a bid from Wade's, but I do not know if we solicited one.
Okay,
So,
I don't know if it'd be fair to go to Wade's now.
if you already,
Yeah.
We've already went out.
You already
and
got the
know what
price in
bids
front of you
are.
now.
Prices out.
I think we keep them in mind for the next time, but it wouldn't be fair right now to go out there, everybody knowing what the prices are.
and that's something we could do. I mean, it does happen at times where we don't necessarily post the bidding, the bid specifications in the paper. We reach out to local vendors so if you're not on that necessarily bid list, you don't maybe get that direct solicitation. But we take bid list stuff all the time from contractor suppliers that we don't even know would be interested. So I can add that to the bid list for the future.
Okay, so we need a motion to,
Second.
okay, so we have a motion by Holtmeyer, seconded by Solentrup, to send this item on to council. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you sent it on. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Purchase of a Heliflow 616 IQ 100 HP unenclosed VFD operated blower.
Okay, this is a purchase for the wastewater treatment plant. It is a budgeted item. The treatment plant currently has, I believe, 2 blowers. One is a VFD, variable frequency drive, which essentially means that it ramps up as necessary to provide air to the actual treatment plant itself. We do operate, I believe, 2 of them. Rather than think of it as rather than be on or off, running full speed, that'll ramp up as necessary when air is required by the treatment plant. This would replace the one, like I said, we do have one VFD right now. It's working great. Kevin did indicate to me that we did not replace both of them at the same time for budgetary concerns, but we just wanted to make sure that we had that the VFDs were providing the air and really what we wanted. So it was a kind of a, we're going to go to this, make sure it's working the way we want it. This would be the second one to purchase. It's a budget item. We do need air. Air is a vital in the biological process of the treatment plant. We do believe that it will reduce the amount of energy costs that the wastewater treatment plant. We do not know what that is. We do not project that. However, if we move forward within the next 30 days, Ameren also gets a $10,000 rebate, which Kevin did work that out with Ameren. So this is, we believe, a positive all the way around. The one that we have is operational, and we will hold it back as a backup if there was an issue with it. There will be additional mechanical and plumbing contract coming at a later date. We just did not get 3 bids for those and had some issues getting some solicitations out. This is just to purchase the equipment. It also has a very long lead time right now. So again, the contract to get it installed will come at a later date, but this is just to purchase that piece of equipment.
We'll be coming back to you with those contracts.
Any questions or comments?
Make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Holtmeyer, seconded by Pettit, to move this item on to council. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you've sent it on. Thank you.
Okay, real quick, I have 2 more updates. The airport, I'm hoping to have that out to bid within the next 2 weeks, hopefully maybe by the end of this week. If you recall, the airport was slated to be a 10-bay hangar. It's been reduced back to an 8-bay. We believe due to material costs. It is bid with then with an alternate to add 2 more, and then a secondary alternate to add 2 more bays to make it 12. Knock on wood, the bids come in well, but I'm not optimistic. I think material prices, metal prices are skyrocketing, and it's hard to really get a feel for what things are doing right now. That project is being funded by more than 90% from MoDOT and the federal government. So I do think we need to move forward and take advantage of that opportunity. I do not know if that opportunity would exist a year down the road. We don't know what material prices are going to be from a year down the road. So I would say we're prepped. Plans are ready. This has been the schedule the entire time. We will be going out to bid, and knock on wood, we get some good numbers. But again, we think with the schedule of construction wintertime that it may help us a little bit, but I don't know what metal's going to do tomorrow. So it is up substantially over the past couple
John,
months.
as I understand, these additional hangars still won't handle our waiting list, will it?
Correct. And the waiting list is when you think waiting list, the people are just chomping at the bit to get in. That's kind of what it is, but it's a number of people that have interest, okay? So that number fluctuates, 18, but I mean, anytime somebody stops at the airport and says, hey, do you got a spot? The answer is no. Do you want to be on a list? Not really. So this interest is all over the place. We are confident, no problem, that we'll get these things filled. They are a little bit bigger than anything we have today, so they will accept a bigger plane. Twin, I believe. I wish Kevin was here, he could explain that. But it will not take care of all the interest that we have. We're seeing a lot of traffic out of Spirit. I do believe, I've heard that they're booked up as far as what they have at Spirit Airport. So I think it's set up to where these things can be added on relatively easy. They just literally like Legos. You just put them next block down, they just build them, to the south. So it's a pretty good setup. The grading will be done. All that rock that was hauled over there, all those agreements that we had with MoDOT are working out really well to build those pads up. So there's the grading work and those things are, at least the materials.
Mark, I think we have about 18 people on the waiting list right now.
Yeah, that's round numbers.
And, airplanes are like, you're on a waiting list at Spirit, you're on a waiting list at Sullivan, Washington. Everybody's got a plane, has got a place to put it. It's not like just put it in your backyard. But pretty much everybody's on a waiting list to get somewhere else or somewhere better.
Or where they want to be. Yeah, that's what it is. So, but to answer your question, it will not take care of all of them. I believe we'll have that interest for a long time coming. What did I have? The other item. Oh, yeah, real quick. So, as you all aware, we had the big trash pickup last. I can't. Oh man, how am I gonna?
Week.
That's frustrating. Hold on. I'm sorry. I can't do anything with that. That's shutting the computer off. We had our big trash pickup last week, and I just kind of wanted to go through a couple of things that we're seeing. We're just going to have to go like this. Some of the things that we were actually seeing on the streets. I don't know how many people get an opportunity to drive around and kind of see what that event is like. We put out these flyers, Waste Connections, in conjunction with the city, put out these flyers to try to provide the public some reasonable, I wish I could move this, can't.
Hey, are you just trying to start the slideshow?
Well, I can't because I can't postpone this slideshow. Here, let's do that.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, you're right, Darren. Okay. So we put out the flyer to the left. Hopefully everyone will see that. It says items that cannot be placed in bulk trash. Okay, so it tries to give some general, clean consensus about what it is. The one item there, construction material, is a gray area. Always has been a gray area. I'm going to be working with Waste Connection on trying to define that a little better. They're having trouble understanding what the definition is. We have trouble understanding what the definition is, and you operate in this gray. I tried to describe it as like a hobby type project, a couple 2x4s and a quarter sheet of plywood. It's not construction. But then you also, it's not a very good definition. So I'm going to be working with them on getting that done. We do not pick up construction demolition. We do not pick up demolition debris in any way, shape, or form. On the right side, what you see is the cleanup from last year compared to this year regarding tonnage. Now, it's confusing. Really, the number you need to see is the total at the very end. You'll see that we picked up, there's 187 tons, 188 tons were picked up last week compared to 147 tons. That's a 31% increase, substantial. What you'll see there also is, well, you may not see it, but we're seeing about a 9 to 10% increase in just general trash throughout the week. So what does that tell you? Well, it tells you, people are either getting rid of their old, buying new. The Amazon market's booming just like we anticipated, but 31% increase. So we've had essentially 3 big trash pickups in 9 months because the city delayed theirs to June of last year. You had one immediately in the fall, and then you had this one. So 3 big in 9 months. And we're getting, some of these items still in the streets. I mean, this, really the intent of what big trash, is, I think has some definition changes. Some of that stuff isn't confined. There's some construction debris kind of mixed in. I would say that Tony would be able, these are just a few of the photos as we go through. On the left, you see some shingles, and then you see that on the right. Is that construction debris? That's the type of things that these guys are dealing with every single day, 1,200 stops, trying to make what that definition is. I've said to them, if it's a 50-50 toss-up, always err to the side of caution, pick the stuff up, okay? Again, that's not very good direction. Shingles, yes. 2x4s, most likely no, just to kind of give you some feeling about what we're doing. Stuff on the left, again, I think that's a lot of stuff to be having out there. On the right, that's a rug. Is that demo debris? I would believe that you'd keep that rug sitting there. Again, you'd pick up everything else. You wouldn't pick up the rug because it's demolition debris. So just give you some idea of these decisions that we're having to make. Left, that looks to me like some people saw a bunch of spots to throw some mattresses. So right's not confined. So I just wanted to kind of, again, right side of the photo there is demo, pretty obvious, I think. Left, and then just another photo. So when you get your complaints and you get these concerns, just understand that when we get those complaints or you forward those on to us, Tony does a good job of going out to the property owner, try to understand what the intent is, try to educate more than anything. And they do go back for the most part based upon a decision that we make. Again, we got to do a better job with defining it, but those are a lot of 50-50s that are out there, and we're trying to do the best we can on getting that done. We did discuss a couple meetings ago about going to a 2-item per month limit. What that would be is at the end of your last pickup of the month, so your individual last pickup of the month, you would have 2 items you can place out there, okay? Whether that be a couch, whether that be a sofa, whether that be a whatever, 2 items that would pick out. Is a chair and tables, how many of those items? So I got to work through some of those definitions. That's 24 items a year, okay? 24. You get those up, you get that every single month. You could see, though, how this stuff would not fit that definition, right? I mean, stuff on the right, that's not confined. That would not be necessarily picked up. It would just be, So I just want to be clear that if we go to something like that, this type of stuff won't happen, or it would happen a lot less. That would actually be an ordinance violation because of the junk ordinance. So just understand that if, as we propose that those move-outs, or these type of things, there could be some negative repercussions that we got to work through as well.
I like the idea of the 24 a year, 2 a month. And what I don't like about this is I've seen people go around town at night and morning unloading off their trucks into somebody else's driveway.
It happens, I believe, more than what
And
you.
not more than just once. I've seen it probably 10 times this year. And that's not right, but I do think it's fair for each person to have 2 pickups, one pickup a month, 2 items, 12 times a year.
It would not
John,
have.
are you still having to make a reservation?
No, it would not be scheduled. Now, there was some discussion about that you
Right,
have more of
that's
an
what we're talking
on-call
about.
thing, that was an alternate. That was as another benefit, I guess. I don't like that because I think it adds another layer of mistakes that could happen. And again, I don't want that to happen. We got to be very clean, move on. Your last pick of the month, you get 2 items.
And it still the things you can't put out there still be.
Yeah.
You won't be able to put construction out there.
Correct. Those things all hold true. What you would get is a lot of this non-confined stuff. Like, I mean, I don't know
Take care of
what.
a lot of that problem right there.
And I think it'd take care of the problem that you mentioned, if there's contractors or somebody else coming into town and dumping on somebody else's property, and they do it because they know that it's big trash.
a
week,
free-for-all.
They assume that it's gonna get picked up.
Well, we'll get picked. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no choice once it's on the ground. So the other thing is you lose some of the rummaging that happens, like that's probably the best word is rummaging. But, picking through stuff and in this unconfined situation that you may see on the right, who knows, that may have been confined prior to 6 hours of rummaging and that's all over
Right.
the place. We don't pick that up. We go back to the homeowner and say, it's not confined. Well, it was when I left. That's not our problem. What am I supposed to do? Have somebody playing security? Maybe you are. You see how this turns into this a mess where it really nobody's right and really nobody's wrong. So we hope that a 2-item a month, again, would be a benefit because you can get rid of your stuff much quicker. But I think it brings you back to the intent of what bulk pickup really is.
I'd like to continue doing the discussion with that 2 a month.
Yeah. What I would propose, that would take a contract amendment. So you get an ordinance to vote on because that would be a contract amendment. I could, at the next meeting, we'll discuss it again. Maybe look at June or July, kind of going live with that. Now,
How about I would suggest we could go ahead and go to the June workshop. We'll give you an idea of what we'd have to do to the contract, and then second meeting in June, we could have that available.
Yeah,
And then begin in July.
the end of July. I mean, you could even look at the end of June if it's less.
If you want to move fast enough, the end of June, for those that jump on it right away, we could see about that too.
So, anyway, Tony's crew, they've been doing they did all the white goods, all the metal. And I think they did have a dollar number of $1,300, I think, in metal. There you go, of scrap. So that kind of made up for our guys in the field doing that work. We'll continue to work through that as well. So again, if you had an oven or something like that, maybe you would call him. We got to work through those details a little bit. So anyway, just wanted to brief you on what's going on out in the streets. Sorry, that was long.
Is there anybody else who had something really burning to tell us?
You're going to be at the next meeting.
Anybody back there?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Solentrup, second by Patke to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, yeah, sorry, man.
By your vote, we are adjourned.